And he said, because I have conquered the king of Kedorlaomer, I have also received, nimeteka nyara vitu hivi, I will give 10% of what I have come along with. So he gave all that to the king of Salem, a typology of Christ, Melchizedek. And Melchizedek in return gives him bread, a sign of God's provision. And he also gives to Abraham a cup of wine or divine, so that theologians don't take me to another corner for interrogation. An indication on how when you get tired, God comes in to refresh you. Have you ever been tired in this life, emotionally, mentally sometimes? Or sometimes physically? And God comes in to freshen you up. So, tithing is not just something of the law. It existed before the law. Yesu mwenyewe did not abolish tithe. He only expounded on it. Praise be to God. We learned who should give tithe. Where should tithe go to? And how tithe should be used. We are kind of clear on that. Tithe was meant for the priest. Tithe is what the Bible calls in Malachi 3:10, bring ye all the tithes into my storehouse, so that there is food in my house. Now, tithe belongs to God, but God has committed or has donated tithe to the ministry. So if I want to give tithe back to God, I need to go to the ministry. Where is that ministry? The place God has raised his servant, the priest. Good morning, church. And the priest was there, and sometimes they were foreigners, wageni. And also, there were also, even just like today, the widows and the orphans. When tithe is properly given, we realize that it brings in food into God's storehouse. Praise be to God. So today I want us to go into the book of Exodus chapter 25. I want us to look at the subject of offerings. Tithes and offerings go together. They sound almost the same, but we need to try and separate them so that we can learn. The procedure may look the same. In Exodus 25 and verse 1. Exodus chapter 25 verse 1. The Bible says, then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, read on. Verse 2 quickly, please, if we can. Speak to the children of Israel, that they may do what? They may bring me an offering from who? From everyone who does what? Gives it willingly with his heart. You shall take my offering. Let's read that verse again. Verse 1. Verse 1. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, spake to the children of Israel that they bring me an offering from everyone who gives willingly with his heart. You shall take my offerings. Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. Let's look at Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. That is in the New Testament. Paul says, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. We are talking about offering. We are talking about what? But before that, let me give you a little story. Are you listening? A story is told that one person was invited to a church service for a Thanksgiving. It happened that this man who was invited into church, he went and sat at the front row. When it was time for the offering, they passed the basket around. Remember, this is a newcomer. He's invited to church. Maybe not like, we don't know whether he is a believer or not. But the story says a man was invited to church for the Thanksgiving service. And on his invitation, he came and sat at the front row. The time came when the offering basket was being passed. Despite the pastor's request for a good offering that day, this man that was invited still hurriedly and secretly pulled out $1 bill from his pocket. And he quickly dropped it into the basket. Just then, the person behind him tapped him a little bit